Ronald Reagan famously said, "The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I am here to help." Or in Fauci's case, there are around 500,000 words written down in his diary. Very few of them were about actually helping and saving lives and helping the American people. Instead, Fauci wrote about his own fame, his very good looks, in his opinion, how sexy he is, his dear friendships with Jake Tapper and Julia Roberts and other so-called celebrities. Fauci also detailed his own lies and deceit, along with evidence of potential criminal misconduct. But during his recent testimony in the Senate, Fauci no longer had anything to say. Surrounded by a team of lawyers, he pled the Fifth a whopping 111 times, despite a preemptive pardon, of course, from Joe Biden. Or was it the auto pen? Now, that pardon only covers federal crimes. Now, right here in my state of Florida, well, our Attorney General, James Uthmire, has launched a state criminal investigation against Dr. Fauci. He will not be protected from the auto pen or Biden pardon. The U.S. Senate is also weighing possible contempt charges. And in the meantime, it was a nice multi-hour public rebuke of one of America's most despicable bureaucrats. Take a look.
Your advice to communities like that, to idiotic politicians who enforce those rules, arrested that mom for watching a football game with her own family outside. When that story broke, I said to myself, I cannot stand idly on the side and watch this happen. It was about 6 years ago today that I decided I'm going to give up my businesses, sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the do you think you were for doing that? It is a total disgrace what you did to this country.
Now, joining us now with more on all of tonight's top stories, Ohio Senator Bernie Moreno is with us. Listen, I'm going to be honest. When you think of the severity of what this country was living through, the pressure that was put on the American people to take an experimental jab with the promise, if you take it, you'll never get COVID. That promise never was fulfilled. The promise that you'll never infect other people, that didn't work out either. Then the propaganda campaign against things like natural immunity or other alternative solutions. It turns out HCQ, Henry Ford Hospital study, and many others taken early mitigated symptoms. They ignored treatments like monoclonal antibodies. They were forcing everybody to have a groupthink and criticizing people like my governor, Ron DeSantis, for leaving his state open. I think your comments were warranted, Senator. God bless you for saying them.
Well, look, that was me trying to be nice, Sean. The reality is this guy damaged a lot of things in this country. He set back children decades. He crushed small businesses, destroyed and sometimes killed seniors that had to die alone. He closed nursing homes, closed hospitals, had people fired, Sean. If you didn't take the vaccine because you didn't want to, you say, hey, look, I don't want to put something in my body that I don't believe in. They were fired. They were terminated from the military. Careers were shattered. And this guy sat there like a smug little SOB. And the reality is every night he'd go home and write in his diary how many people died. And then, oh, I got to meet Kim Kardashian. Or aren't I the sexiest man alive? Oh, I'm so important. This is one of the most depraved bureaucrats in American history.
Okay, in-person learning. Well, for people like Gavin Newsom, Mr. No-Show Governor, his kids went to private schools, so they did have in-person learning. For the rest of the kids in California, they had remote learning. A lot of restaurants were closed. A lot of restaurants went out of business. But Gavin, just as one example, he was at the French Laundry famously. They were putting kids in masks. They were forcing an experimental shot on the American people, even though the very doctor that created the mRNA medical technology, Dr. Robert Malone, said it was experimental, it wasn't perfected, and he would only use it for people with comorbidities, pre-existing conditions, and people that were over 65. He created the technology for that mRNA vaccine. They wouldn't listen to him. They attacked him.
And they were wanting to give it to children, Sean, which we know now they should never have done that. They were masking children, keeping them out of school. But let me draw a connection between your first segment and this one. Ultimately, what these communists, by the way, I think it's way too nice to call them socialists, what they want is to control us, Sean. This is about controlling American people. He treated us like lab rats. And that's what you want to give power to Democrats, socialists, and communists in this country. They will take away your freedoms. They will take away your liberties. They'll control you. They'll replace you. They want to systematically destroy this country. And that's why Fauci is their hero. He got to do what they only fantasize about, which is total and complete control of the American people.
All right. So are there any, like all the incidents, for example, people with myocarditis, especially we found out athletes were particularly prone to that, young athletes, collegiate athletes. What is their recourse? What about people that have, to this day, medical conditions as a result of taking the experimental shot? What about people, the pressure, the loss of business, the loss of, their whole life's dream, just goes away, puff. The government says you're closed. Any recourse for any people that suffered directly because of this egomaniac? And what about the origins of COVID? NIH money going to the EcoHealth Alliance, going to the Wuhan Virology Lab, and all of the text messages that went back and forth early in January of 2020 between Fauci and others. They knew that the EcoHealth Alliance funded that Wuhan lab. They knew they did coronavirus research, and they knew they did gain-of-function research. So they knew about all of it, and they just act, oh, it's probably from a wet market. That was just such a flagrant manufactured lie. How do they get held accountable?
Well, look, if John Morgan is listening or other class action attorneys, they should go after Fauci because now we have the documents in the public zone. We know what he was actually thinking. We know what he lied to the American people. State attorney generals like the one in Florida, I hope the one in Ohio does the same thing. We got to pursue this guy. And Sean, the worst part is, at one point during the hearing, I asked Anthony Fauci to turn around and look at the people he harmed and just apologize. Say he did the best he could, but he realizes that he overstepped and made big mistakes. He wouldn't even look at them, Sean. That's how despicable this guy is. So for the attorneys out there, sue the crap out of this guy. Let's go get him, the attorney general. This guy cannot stay free after what he did and damaged American people.
Narcissist, egomaniac that he was. It is sad. This can never happen again. And we had RFK Jr. on last night. He said it will never happen again. Senator, great job. We appreciate you being with us.